What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 3 of X's and O's with Evan and Bros. I'm your gracious host, Evan, and we have some bros here with us today. Unlike last episode, sitting to my left is Mr. Eldad Sailor. How you doing, Eldad?
It's too early.
I know it's too early. I called you. You didn't pick up. Texted you. You didn't text me back.
Slept through my alarm.
Eldad,
Slept through my second alarm.
Eldad wasn't
post MCAT rest.
Yeah, he wasn't with us because of he had the MCAT, which last episode he had the MCAT, which congrats, it's over.
Thank God.
You remember what button that was? Good. And we have some bros joining us through Zoom. Introducing first, Mr. E.J. Mitchem. How you doing, EJ?
Man, I'm doing all right. It is early. But
Hey,
sports keeps me up, so let's do it.
yeah, that's right. And I think it's going to be better to shoot earlier. Nobody likes waking up, but I think this allows us to get, post-production going as soon as we can. Broderick, how are you, buddy? Welcome, Mr. Broderick O'Lynn.
Usually I got to wake up at 5 a.m. for work, so I actually have to sleep in.
Okay.
But let that not distract us from the fact that the
flex.
Henny God is back. J.R. Smith, Lakers in 4. Lakers in 4 now.
JR's back. Dwight Howard's playing. Lakers kind of look like they're keeping everybody. Besides
3, actually. They only need the 4th game.
Besides
after 3, this is done.
Besides the Nets. The Nets are kind of losing all their starters, and so they're just putting in anybody who wants to play basketball at this point.
Not have a team.
Yeah, well, that's a topic for today later. Anyway, on today's show, we'll be discussing Desean Jackson released some questionable posts. One that, two that you should never. I don't think anybody agrees with on this panel. And so we're going to be covering that first. I want to get that out of the way. I know he apologized, and that's what we should do. But in today's society, apology isn't enough anymore, which is, Eldad asked me what I think. We'll get in more on that. And then let's talk about Stanford eliminating 11 out of 36 varsity sports. 32? That's crazy. Must be done. The Ivy League schools canceling fall sports. Do we think that this could, move over to the major leagues, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12? That's a big deal. Fall sports, no Ivy League, no Harvard versus Yale. That game gets nasty. I'm going to miss that.
I refuse.
NFL and NFLPA are creating a potential opt-out decision date for the NFL players to be part of the 2020 season. That's a big deal, especially now that we're seeing a lot of these. Obviously, NBA is a smaller pool, but bigger names and what have you. But it's kind of interesting seeing them opt out, choosing. It's their choice, so they can play if they don't want to. So it's just kind of interesting. See how many star NFL players are going to be playing, are going to be not. The NBA bubble meals.
Some airplane food.
Yeah, that is some disgusting ass food. I'm so sorry. And Eldad sent me a picture of the WNBA meal.
Oh my, it's even worse.
It's even worse. Oh my God.
Eat it. We got to eat it.
I don't know why. They don't have to eat anything. I mean, damn. But will we agree? Who the fuck knows? But that is why you are here, the audience and listeners, to find out. Now, no more waiting. Eldad, hit that intro.
X's and O's with Evan and Bros. Yeah. Okay, Hey, it's X's and O's with Evan and Bros. Of course, it's a talk show, man, talking about sports. The one and only Evan Miller, yeah, that's your host, doing analyzing with the side of jokes. Hey, X's and O's with Evan and Bros. X's and O's with Evan and Bros. X's and O's with Evan and Bros. Hey, analyzing with the side of jokes.
That's never going to get old. Well, this is the third episode of X's and O's. Friday. We've gone through a first full week of shows, men. This is great. We're moving along. This is what I love to see. All right. Back to the first topic, though. On a not so light matter. I would read the quote that he shared, but it's kind of a bad quote. I don't think, and even we're gonna get everybody's thoughts and take your time, okay? Because I want, I think this is a big thing because it kind of, and me and Eldad and talked about this a little bit. It's kind of showing the hypocrisy of a lot of this going on. And obviously Monday's episode, we're in full support of BLM, right? That if you're not, get off my channel. But I don't want to be a biased show. It's not what I want. I'm somebody who already aligns himself pretty in the middle. So I don't want to show one side in total support and then not show some of the crap that can happen on the other side. So Desean Jackson released some anti-Semitic comments that quote, it's a false quote. It's not a real quote, but for some reason it's associated with Hitler. So let's just put something clear. Let's start off the bat. Anything associated with Hitler is not good, y'all. I don't know if we all agree, I hope we all agree on this. I hope this is not like a controversial thing to say. No matter, again, even if it's a false quote, literally the image he shared is like Hitler, : and then he highlighted, and it's funny because there's only one paragraph he really wanted to share. Because the prior 2 to 3 paragraphs to the one that he really wanted to share that had his point are hate. And I don't know Desean. I would love to. Call us. And I would love to know Desean. Because I genuinely believe, nice guy. He went to Cal Berkeley. He knows his stuff. This is not an instance where you can be like, oh, he's ignorant or he he did not realize, or he's a young kid. He's 33 years old, been 12 to 13 years in the league. This is not okay. And if my reasoning by the hypocrisy of it all is because if players, I'm talking about players, not media, players. Because the media was giving him shit, as they should. If players are so quick to demonize and pressure someone like Drew Brees for his national anthem comment, why was there? Where were the athletes that were like, yo, Desean, this is not okay? And then it didn't make it any better when another Jackson, Steven, who's been a positive face in the BLM movement. We can all agree. He's been powerful. He's stepped out, and it's been great. But he came out and supported the original comments, which is, I don't even know. How do you do that? I don't even know. Anyway. So I have more to say, so I'll go off, honestly, I know we can probably talk about this for 3 hours. But let's go around. Everybody get their thoughts, and then we can argue, we can agree. This is an open forum. Whatever you guys want to do, okay? I'll toss it to Eldad first. Let's hear what you have to say, and then we'll go from there. What's up, buddy?
I just couldn't really believe the quote when I saw it.
I know.
And then
I know. It's kind of a crazy quote.
he told me to look at the Undisputed segment on it.
Undisputed released a 22-minute segment on it the other day. And shout out to Fox and Undisputed. Skip. LaShannon. Go ahead. Keep going.
But Shannon said he talked to Desean, and Desean was like...
Context?
Desean thought the context was there. Which, I mean, I don't even know what the context...
There's context for everything.
The message that he wanted to get out of it, that if everyone comes together, they have more power.
If the black community put their money together like the Jewish community does, they would be just as powerful.
A lot of spending power.
Which
is a good message. And then it's just I think it might be worse that it's not an actual Hitler quote. Because regardless, it means that he believes it's attributed to Hitler. And it says that Farrakhan was just like, yeah, Hitler said this.
Well,
which makes it worse.
The Farrakhan thing is apparently Desean's a big supporter of Farrakhan? Farrakhan. Of Farrakhan. And Farrakhan obviously was not a big Obama guy. And then he went on and supported Trump in the 2016 election. And so it's just kind of interesting. And then he also is known by the what community?
He's the Anti-Defamation League.
He's labeled by the I can't speak. If it's longer than 3 syllables, I'm out. All right, what's the word?
The Anti-Defamation League.
As an anti-Semitic, right? Like, this is a known thing. And if you watch the video, Skip doesn't want to read a lot of I guess there's worser quotes by him towards the Jewish community.
He compares them to termites at one point.
Yes, termites, which is not good. So continue. Keep going.
And then...
That's okay. We'll come back to you. EJ, what do you think?
Anyone knows me. They know I'm a big Desean Jackson fan.
Has that wavered at all?
Well, I'm disappointed on what he said because in the moment of time, this is not the time to release something ever.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like the point to me, he went a little bit to the extreme Black Lives Matter instead of what Black Lives Matter is really trying to do. Because there's 2 types of Black Lives Matter, and it's the extreme Black Lives Matter where it's like Black lives or die. And there is Black Lives Matter where we're trying to get equality for everything. And that's the point of it. Equality. And I love Desean Jackson, but he missed the point. He obviously missed the point in Steven Jackson. Retired Jackson, whatever you want to call him. He missed the point as well. I know what he wants to say. I know what he's trying to say, but he still missed the point. This is about equality. This is not Black lives or die. Black lives only is Black Lives Matter. And it will always be that way. Black Lives Matter. And it's not really Black Lives Matter, it's minority lives matter. And then when all that matters, then everyone matters. And that's what the point we're trying to drive across. And I'm so upset that Desean Jackson did it. If I was the Eagle GM, I wouldn't cut him.
No.
I wouldn't cut him.
We're wrong.
But I would definitely fine him. Give him a good money fine, and I will give him the education he needs.
Make him, I don't know how you do this, but serve, you know how you can go to Jewish community centers educate something like. We'll talk about punishment later. Eldad asked me, and I'll give you my thoughts on that. But continue.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. Like somewhere, I know the Eagles said they talked to him, and that
owner's Jewish.
Yeah,
GM's Jewish.
Yeah, and that's
the man who signs your check is Jewish.
It's tough. It's tough talking to somebody that just really missed the point, missed the whole ball. But that's the thing that we need to. It's not just black people need to be. It's not white people need to be accountable. Everybody needs to be accountable.
That's true.
For what they say.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to be together, and it's still justice for all. Freedom for all and equality for all. And that's really all I'm going to say about it.
No, nicely said. And the thing that you brought up is a great point where he was going to the other extreme, right? Because if you think that there's just white power, which you can't, no, there's also black power, but like to the extremes, right? Where you think that obviously that where it's supremacist, where just like how there's black supremacists, just like how there's white supremacists, there's black supremacists. The point of the BLM movement, like EJ said, is for equality for all. And he missed that mark. And that's what sucks about the Desean Jackson thing, because he's been such a face in it. He's been such a he's been on the front lines. And the worst people are trying to look for reasons to discredit the BLM movement. Terrible people. This does not help. This does not help at all. Broderick, what do you think?
Yeah, I just kind of want to know what he was thinking when he read Hitler.
Like that's just a big question.
This is the quote, right? I need to use. Like because he's like you said, he went to Cal Berkeley. Like there's no way he's not educated.
No, he's a very smart man. He's at least
there's so many like kids out there that you see Hitler and it's like. And just immediately associated with something bad or like evil intentions. So I just don't know what he was thinking when he read Hitler and then the quote. Even it's a fake quote too, and he was like, "This is what I need to use for my message." I just feel like there were better quotes out there.
Well, I'm sure at some point. Well, and also and then they brought this up on Undisputed. You can't a point like especially a racial point that you're trying to make. You can't make it on Twitter.
Right.
You can't make it in under 280 characters or whatever it is. You can't make that strong of a point or send a message. That's stupid. You can't do that. So, continue.
And my next point was this just happened, or just got reported on maybe 20 minutes ago. It said Julian Edelman reached out.
Yeah.
And invited Desean Jackson to go to like Holocaust museums.
Is he Jewish? Is Julian Edelman Jewish?
Not that I know of, but
this is just what he was.
He just reached out, and I thought that was a good thing. But I wish we could do that with all people who messed up instead of immediately thrashing them. People definitely deserve to be suspended or fined when they act out of line. But like Evan was saying earlier, with like Drew Brees, everyone just slandered him on Twitter. Like
calling him racist. I mean, they were right. Calling him some mean things. And then, continue. Like,
there needs to be some type of fairness. Like, Drew Brees got some slander. Probably should have too, because his quote and what his message was very tone deaf. But I wish there was more people like, hey, Drew Brees, let's educate you on what Black people suffered through throughout history, like slavery and all that. And I just kind of like that Edelman was like, Desean, let me help you understand what the Jewish community went through and how they could have perceived it when you used this Hitler quote, or fake Hitler quote.
Yeah. The whole, he asked me about punishment. And I think that
Sounds like your dog's got something to say.
God. Somebody barked. I mean, somebody knocked. And God damn it! I'm trying to shoot! Do not knock! Damn it! All right. Sorry. Anyway.
Good, man.
Anyway, so I really hope Gavin leaves this in. I really want him to. Back on track. So Eldad asked me, what do you think the punishment should be? And this was after he already apologized. He released his statement, things like that. And my thoughts on it were, obviously I'm not Jewish, but I in a society I would like where an apology was good enough, right? And then they educate themselves, right? So I'm sorry, I'll be better, I'll learn, I'll educate. But the problem is that is not the precedent that's been set. The president, oh my, say it for me. The precedent, you're going to say it louder. The precedent that has been set is that you have to, not pay, but there's going to be punishment. When in reality, an apology would be good enough. So like EJ said, a fine, possibly, a 1-game suspension, nothing severe. To me, I think an apology is good enough. And then obviously to admit that you're wrong or, so a suspension, a fine. What do y'all think? I mean, I think that's an appropriate, something small, nothing huge. He shouldn't be cut. No, I mean, and I think the Eagles fans want him there. It's not like they don't want him there.
Carson Wentz needs him.
And the Eagles need him, and they know.
He needs a whole bunch of help.
But this kind of shows, again, the hypocrisy of some of Twitter, that's why it's just, I don't know. I just hate it. I really do. You can't, if you're an athlete and you speak out against one comment, you have to speak against every comment. You can't be picky. You can't be choosy. Anybody has any final words before we move on? Anybody have any final words before we move on?
Evan, EJ and I have no idea what you said for the past minute and a half. You were cutting. There's no audio.
Anyway,
sure, we'll go with it.
Do you guys have anything else you want to say?
I was gonna say I agree with the suspension. I think 1 game would be fine, but I don't know if they could even enforce this, but he would have to actually go to
well, that's what I'm saying. How do you say you're suspended a game that weekend?
Go to some sort of community center,
fly him out to Germany. I don't care.
Because he truly does believe, because he posted I thought it was just this quote, but he posted Farrakhan things
all weekend
3 times over the week, which KD also liked, which isn't great.
Oh God,
that's Kevin Durant for you.
He just LeBron's number 1.
Yeah, good.
But yeah, it's disappointing. And we need people, if you have a voice, be better. That's all. Go a little more in depth before you share a quote. And hey, Desean, this is a message for you. Don't share fucking quotes from Hitler, even if they're false ones. On agreement? Hear ye, hear ye?
Hear, hear.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with X's and O's with Evan and Bros. Don't go anywhere.
Take this moment to like and subscribe, and also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Curbside Entertainment and Curbside Network, respectively. You can also find us on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to X's and O's with Evan and Bros. Sorry about the last topic. It got a little heated. No, I didn't. I think we all in agreement. Stupid ass fucking quote. Anyway, so we're going to move on. Stanford. The Cardinals have erased 11 varsity sports. Now, I got the list right here. So, the university says athletes of the athletics was facing a 70 million shortfall over the next 3 years. So these sports had to go. 11 out of 36. That's a lot of sports. That's a lot of now the first question I asked when I saw this article come out, I was like, do these students, do they get to keep their scholarships? I don't, do they?
Yeah,
So
they keep their scholarships.
all right, so I'm going to toss it to y'all. Broderick, what do you think?
Yeah, they said they'll honor the scholarships and the coaches' contracts. So it's not like they're just hanging them out there to die. Like the students, I assume if they're on an athletic scholarship, they would still want to play. So they would try to transfer
somewhere. It makes sense.
But I guess if they're freshmen, you're like, you know what? I want a free Stanford education. Then I guess they would stay. But I assume if the athletes really want to play and the coaches really want to coach, they'll try to find a job somewhere else. But I'm surprised it's Stanford, but I'm not too surprised that this isn't happening more, because
that's true.
Football and basketball are the only sports that are really
make
profitable.
Money. Yeah.
I'm just surprised it was as big of a school as Stanford that kind of
did it first.
Came out and did it first. Like you've seen schools take away like one or maybe a few sports, but not 11 at a time, and that it's nearly a third of all their sports. So I wouldn't have been surprised if it was some small school, but a big school like Stanford is a little concerning.
So you know what's kind of crazy about that? So we went to Georgia Southern, respectively, UGA, right? The people at this panel. Can y'all name 36 sports at university? Can you?
I might be able to get half of them, but
maybe half. What's half though?
There's
16 teams, 15 teams, 17.
UGA's got to have somewhere between 30 and 40, so I feel like I can get definitely half. But
20? You think you get 20? If you're just naming fucking sports, yeah, I guess.
You can get the big ones out of the way, and like women's basketball, regular basketball, women's golf, regular golf. That's 4 right away. You can just do the double men's and women's.
I guess that's fair. Maybe we could. I don't know. It's kind of not scary, but it also just sucks for a lot of these athletes because they already know. Yeah, my sport doesn't really matter. But some of these kids probably been doing this sport their entire lives, and to be told, I'm sorry, you're not football. And they already know that. This is not news to them. It kind of sucks. EJ, thoughts?
Well, everybody talks about,
Hey, this is your Pac-12. I was about to say, this is your Pac-12.
Yeah, Lavistock and football. But if y'all look at these 11 sports Stanford has deleted or canceled, I should say, or deleted. It really doesn't matter. It's gone. They brought in national championships for Stanford. And this is what makes Pac-12 so great. Even though we're not the greatest at football right now, basketball is mediocre.
Aren't you wearing a Kentucky shirt?
I am. I go to University of Kentucky, so shout out to my comrades and students and staff members at University of Kentucky.
They might cut the basketball team.
And look, if they do that, I'm gonna be so upset. And shout out to Bronny. I know you're gonna make your college decisions soon. Pick UK.
He's a freshman.
All right.
I was gonna say, how old isn't he? Like 16, 15 years old?
It don't matter.
EJ's like, no pressure, but we bleed blue over here.
If he want to win national championship and he want to be coached by the second best coach in college basketball, then he should come to Kentucky. Anyway, back to it. Stanford, as thinking with an athletic director mind, they were, I believe, they were $70 million short, and they just had to cut. They had to cut some sports, and these sports really does matter because most of these sports are Olympic sports.
Yeah, these athletes are training year round for the gold, not just their collegiate games or tournaments or whatever. You're right. These are Olympians, a lot of them. And Stanford's had a great history of having Olympians on their college team. So that's a great point, EJ.
So, USC is the best school in the Pac-12. We hold the most national championships in total of everything.
I'm going to send this clip to UK.
So it hurts because we love playing Stanford in whatever sport it is because it's the rivalry other than UCLA. But I wish them the best of luck, and that just makes USC a better school to go to. So I should hope we recruit better.
Think all these athletes is going to transfer over?
Oh, come on, right ahead. Los Angeles, Southern California. I'm down with it.
I love how you spin this for an endorsement for SC. A lot of these athletes probably, not a lot, I don't know, where you get a lot of these times these kids go to where the school offers them or best school offers them. But I would assume some of them have been probably Stanford fans their entire lives or Cardinals fans, and they're like, just gets taken away, which is sad. I feel bad for him. Eldad.
I do wonder if this is going to be like kind of the trend over the next few years.
Well, that's what Broderick was kind of hinting at.
I know Akron did the same thing, and obviously they're like a much smaller program to begin with.
Who?
Akron.
Who? We talked about Akron on 2 of these episodes. I'm sick and fucking tired of it. Keep going.
King James, baby.
God. All right, keep going. We're done. Done with Akron talk. We're not even from Akron. We're not even from Ohio. Keep going.
But Stanford, I think Stanford said...
That's right. Broderick is from Ohio.
Technically not me. But no, just keep going. My bad.
I think Stanford said they were running at deficits for like a few years now, and this Corona just kind of exacerbated everything. So I do wonder, because a lot of these programs aren't really profitable other than like basketball and football. So I wonder if just a ton of these sports are just going to get cut within the next few years.
Well, and women's basketball, especially for Stanford, because they're so dominant.
I don't think it can be.
Yeah, they're a good team.
Well, no, Title IX, stuff like that. Yeah, no, I'm just saying, but I don't know the numbers, but I would think probably I don't know, UConn, they have good men's and women's, but I would think that the women's basketball team for Stanford is like bringing in a lot of dough. I would assume. I don't know the numbers. I would just assume, just because they're so good.
They're good year in, year out, so I wouldn't be surprised if they bring in a good profit.
That's what I'm saying. It's not like UGA's women's basketball team more compared to the men's. But
I know for a fact UGA, the only profitable sports are football and basketball.
Yeah,
our basketball team isn't even great.
It's the same for LSU. LSU, you see how much money their football team, I know we're getting sidetracked, but their football team compares to the rest of the sports brought in. I mean, I think they triple, quadruple their numbers. It's ridiculous. Anyway, this is kind of, off this topic, this is kind of it's a scary scenario. Again, I don't know if I could name 36 sports, but it does give a lot of students, a lot of people love these sports and they love playing them. So it's just kind of sad to see it get taken away. And so I hope they get to continue their education in the sport they love somewhere else. That's what I hope. All right, we're going to move on. So kind of in the same vein, we got the Ivy League. You know, they're dominant athletics. They're canceling fall sports. I don't know what I'm going to do without my Yale football. I don't know what I'm going to do. EJ,
If I don't see that Harvard Yale game,
tell me what I'm going to do.
Look, you're going to change the channel and go to ESPN or SEC Network.
I've also said the SEC Network.
Whatever else, and watch some real football. I mean, I love Yale and Harvard. I love them, but this doesn't scare me one bit.
Oh, it doesn't scare you?
Power 5 conference. No, it doesn't. I mean, it's a start. It's a start, but that's not a Power 5 conference team.
That's the scary thing, though.
Go ahead.
It's a start. And so, if you see a little cracks in the dam, little cracks in the system, everybody could be like, hey, all the smart asses over in the Ivy League are saying that we should cancel fall sports.
Hey, these smart kids are onto something.
I know. The SEC's like, do we listen to the, like, huh? Like, maybe we should stop shucking corn and just maybe.
Harvard, they might know something. No, I mean, it's, again, like, it could be, EJ, it could be some cracks in the dam.
Yeah, you're right. But money talks.
Money does talk. It does. You're right. What do I know?
Yeah. And I'll be surprised. Hey, I'll be surprised if a Power 5 conference does really cancel unless it's that's their last option. That's NCAA, SEC, all these Power 5 conferences' last option is to cancel. They're going to try to figure out, do every avenue they can to put a season on.
Yeah, agree. I do agree. I think it's kind of crazy to think that there possibly could be no fans in the stands. But I mean, I think with TV deals, and honestly, I prefer watching it from the comfort of my home in my couch versus live games. That's me. That's my preference. Because you can just get whatever kind of fucking large pizza you want, set it right there on your lap, get a nice cold brewski, or in my case, maybe a Moscow Mule. I'm a big cocktail guy, big Moscow Mule guy, ginger beer, and have yourself an evening. Unloosen the belt. It's great. You can't do that in a stadium. I mean, you can, but you're probably going to get kicked out. So, Broderick, what do you think?
Well, I mentioned this on the first episode, and that's moving the sports to spring. There's no plan on it yet with Harvard and Yale, but I think it's something people should seriously consider. And I remember episode 1, you guys kind of shot me down real quick, but
that's a stupid fucking decision.
Hey,
you know what kind of football's played in the spring?
Go without sports.
Pop Warner.
And
I want some big man football.
Yeah, and it might happen in spring because if more conferences start to shut down, there's going to be more pressure on the SEC, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, like these conferences to like legitimately shut down football for the fall. And if it gains enough traction, they're going to have to do something because they're not going to go without the money. Then you're going to have a packed spring schedule because you're going to have football, basketball, women's basketball, soccer. I know that soccer's not as big, but you get all these sports, baseball, and then it's going to cut into media rights stuff. So it's going to be a messy situation. So I'm curious to see whether they try to move it to spring or if they try to just shut it down completely. Because I think I'm starting to seriously consider there won't be as many sports in the fall. The only one there's some hope for is football, just because it's such a huge revenue source.
So do you think, kind of going off of what Broderick just said, if you had to pick the first Power 5 conference to be like, we're not playing in the fall, what's the Power 5? Who pussies out first? I know EJ thinking it's Pac-12.
Pac-12.
Are we all in agreement? Well, now it's curious. Seriously, do you think it's because of the East Coast West Coast thing where they don't have? It's that time frame where their games are put on at 1 o'clock anyway. So why the fuck have them?
No, I think of it more as, well, if you look at the coronavirus thing, not to change.
Like California? Is that what we're looking at?
With California, like a lot of the schools are in California and they're more liberal about it, and they're advocate more for masks and that stuff. And when you look at Georgia,
like God,
and the coronavirus
football
cases have skyrocketed.
God.
So I think
More
SEC
God.
might be like, yeah,
And football. People in Georgia are like, hey, Jesus loves football. We're going to have football.
Mm-hmm. So the last conference to do it would be the SEC. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the SEC is just like, we're the only ones playing. Whoever wins the conference is the national champion.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I mean, they're probably going to be the national champion anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But Eldad, thoughts on the Ivy League canceling all fall sports?
I think it's really interesting because the Ivy League was the first to cancel their conference tournament when it came to basketball.
Back in spring.
Yeah, back in spring.
Yeah.
And then everyone followed suit after. Some people a little too late.
So we have some history.
So they do have a history of setting precedents. But it's just for the NFL and the NBA, it makes sense that players want to come back because they're getting paid. But in college, it's way harder to say, all right, go and play when like 40 of you are going to get sick, based on the Clemson numbers at least.
And the rest of your colleagues, students-wise, aren't even on campus. And they're all home taking online classes versus we're asking these specific students
to take a risk.
Keep going.
Just it's in obviously the programs are going to want to do it. Like these athletic directors need to pump in this money into the programs in order to fund other sports. But it's just, I don't know. I think the Ivy League canceling it is pretty huge. I think they said they're postponing it possibly to spring. They didn't outright say canceling, but
the
logistics of spring. It's just
they're moving it. They could move it to spring. But this fall, they're not playing anything. So it's a scary time because, we love our fall sports. Obviously, football makes up America's fall. People decide their weekend schedule on bye weeks.
Southeast.
Yeah, especially college. We can all agree, usually in these urban cities, NFL kind of rules supreme, but at least in Augusta or like a lot of these other kind of smaller cities, college sports reign supreme, especially in the South. So, people will be upset, but, I think you gotta, at the end of the day, people can't be naive and not think about students' health. You gotta take that into consideration because it's just, these are students. These are their lives. So, and that's important.
I mean, if one student gets seriously ill, what do you do? Let's say you have a death or something. What does that mean for the program?
Yeah. I mean, that basically shuts the program down.
Yeah. I mean, they wouldn't.
You got to go
so hard to come back.
If you're trying to think best case scenario, you got to think worst case scenario. That's how it works. So, all right, we're going to move on to the NFL and the NFLPA. Kind of on a similar thing. They're trying to work towards an agreement to where players can opt out of the 2020-2021 season. If they're already, we're seeing in the NBA, which players should have the ability to opt out. That's duh. If you don't want to play, you shouldn't have to play because your health might be at risk. But also, it's kind of funny. Any sport, really any sport, your health's at risk. Football, you're basically signing a waiver to get CTE. I mean, you're basically, it's just kind of an interesting, and obviously the NFL has done a lot to try to improve their brain injury numbers. They want to make it a safer game. So this is obviously a natural transition to where we have to make it where we can't have it both ways, where if a player gets sick, they shouldn't force him to play. What, Eldad, I'm going to you first. What do you think if they how many players do you think would opt out? Do you think a lot of these major stars, like I've heard that Von Miller is still feeling like sick, not sick, but he does not feel the same as he did prior to having COVID. Do you think it's going to be, do you expect to see a lot of big name players opt out?
I don't really see it. I mean, Von Miller has asthma. And I mean, anybody else who has like an underlying condition, I think they will opt out because it is a huge risk. But I think anyone who doesn't really have any sort of conditions won't really decide to opt out. But on the injury note, it is interesting. I was watching an MLS game yesterday, and they're in the Orlando bubble.
What's that?
Good old soccer.
Oh, MLS.
But they're in Orlando.
It's up to Evan.
And one player,
I'll just leave the room.
One player got, I think, elbowed in the head, and it took. They ended up stretchering him off, but it took I think 4 or 5 minutes for the stretcher to get on the field. Like, they were so unorganized. So I think the injury risk, like if you do see something like that, it does make you wonder, what if I do get hurt and then they're just not ready to respond because it's just such a novel environment.
Yeah, that's true. They could be, a lot of the protocols they've been able to establish could be thrown out the fucking window now. Broderick.
Yeah, I'm like, people forget that players are people too. Like, they have families, they have kids, maybe other friends that are at risk. And all these fans expect them, like, oh, they'll play no matter what. They're a player. They get paid to do this, and they get so much hate if they decide to opt out. And I think we need to fix that, because we don't want to see their friends, family, kids get hurt. Like, we saw Kat's mom die from COVID, and it was heartbreaking to see. He had a long and very heartfelt post about it. And I would hate to see a bunch of other players have family members that die because fans don't take this seriously.
Now, you're right. Fans have to, it's a fan thing. It's not a player thing. It's not the player's fault. Fans have this weird thing where we don't see, and again, this is the reason why I like the NBA better, and this is why we can relate to Cat better versus players in the NFL, because, we see Cat. We experience every emotion Cat has on the court. And so we feel for him when his mother passes away, because we've seen Cat's face. A lot of these NFL players, it's tough because you don't really, if it's your team, you probably can name maybe every player on the roster if it's your team. But, it's rare for that player to transcend that helmet and that logo. So it's a little different scenario with the NFL, because it's harder to humanize with the players. Again, yes, there are some that transcend that, where if something terrible happens to them, you're like, oh my God. But a lot of times, you don't know, nobody really knows the tragedies that a lot of these players come to, because there's 53 men on a roster, and that's the active roster, let alone practice squad. So, EJ.
I think both of y'all hit it on the head. I think the biggest thing for the players is, what is the game checks looking like?
Yeah, how big are they? How many zeros is? Well, Mahomes is like, guys, I'm fucking suiting up. All right. I was like, I don't.
I tell you what about Patrick Mahomes. I am so happy he got the contract.
You weren't on for that episode. You could have talked about it, but you.
I could have.
Bitch.
I was so happy for him. He's the best quarterback in the NFL. I don't care what anyone tells me.
No, he is.
He's just a special talent. And if the NFL, because I know how we kind of know how the NFL owners work when it comes to money.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a huge thing about this. Like, is the NFL owners going to be like the baseball MLB owners and be like, we will only pay you 50%, 60%, da. I think that's the huge thing about opting out. And yes, the health risk definitely number one priority. If the health is okay, now we talk about money because the players are people, and I definitely believe that. And that should be always the first priority. But if you can get past the health risk, then it's all about am I making enough to even
Consider
do this?
Yeah.
To play football. And I think that's their biggest biggest concern.
That's a good point with because it's 52-man roster, like 40 through 52, the guys that get no playing time. I mean, they still make good money, but not nearly as much as starters. Is it worth their time to go and possibly get sick and all this stuff, put family at risk to make like a couple $100,000, or maybe these practice squad guys, guys who don't even.
Well, and also, it's kind of funny. It's not even just the players. How many 70 and up coaches are in the NFL, or 60 and up coaches are in the NFL?
Yeah. The staff, yeah.
Is everybody going to be like in the I can't even think of not stands, but skybox. Is everybody going to be in the fucking skybox 6 feet apart? I mean, it'll be interesting. I know they are talking about putting more headsets and helmets. I know Tyrann Matthews said if my coach is able to speak to me through headset every play, he said I'll be making every fucking pick or every play. And so that'd be interesting. Hey, maybe that's what we need. A little more excitement. Give the defense an advantage. Give everybody a headset in their fucking helmet. I don't care. So, I don't think we're taking consideration the health of the coaches and the staff because, think about the ball boy. They're literally touching the ball that's been touched by the center, by the quarterback, by the receiver, by the running back. By the punter. It's, there's a lot of factors that need to be considered. And I know they're trying to work out the logistics and the numbers. That's why it's taken not a long time, but that's why they're working through this about if a player does opt out.
Well, they said they wanted to possibly hold back salaries, right?
Well, that's what they're trying to work out right now is how much of the salary, the percentage, like EJ was saying. Is it like 50%? I don't know. It's tough. It's such a weird, because I hate to play devil's advocate. I know if I was an owner, if I was a businessman, I would be like, you're not really working to play devil's advocate. But yes, the reason why your product is so good is because of the players. So you got to work with them. Unless you're Jacksonville, because they're ass. And they will always be ass. If you're Jacksonville, just move to fucking London already. That's it for this segment. Quick break. We'll be right back, y'all.
Take this moment to like and subscribe, and also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Curbside Entertainment and Curbside Network, respectively. You can also find us on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to X's and O's with Evan and Bros. I'm your host, Evan. To my left, Eldad. Say hi.
Howdy.
Joining us through Zoom, EJ. Say hi.
What's good?
Yes, sir. And last, Broderick. How are you, buddy?
Any God, Lakers in 4.
Hey, we've had a good show so far. What do we think? Good little show?
Good.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to finish up on these last couple of topics. We're circling all around to the NBA, and they're now in the bubble. Players are arriving to Orlando to play in this restart of the season, which we're all so excited for. They've been releasing photos of the courts, the practice facilities, little tidbits, teasing the fans. But I have to say, a lot of these players that are dropping out, some of these teams I don't think should fucking play. I'm looking at you, Brooklyn Nets. Why? Why are you going? Jay-Z, why are you sending your players to go? Because they're not even your players at this point.
Nice street team going.
It's kind of weird because this was Kyrie's team. Kyrie was kind of against the restart. So it's kind of interesting to see that it's the Brooklyn Nets that have really reported that so-and-so's not coming. Who's not coming?
Dinwiddie, DeAndre Jordan, Taurean Prince, Wilson Chandler. I guess Durant and Kyrie, obviously.
Did you say Dinwiddie?
Yeah, and Dinwiddie.
Isn't LeVert not going?
I thought LeVert was going.
Was he?
I mean, if he's not going,
there's so many of them.
Get him out of there.
Yeah, it's kind of like everybody. So, what do we think we're going to see? Unless we gave our top 5 going into the season, unless you have a real chance at winning the entire thing, a lot of these players aren't coming. At least Brooklyn's not coming. Should the Wizards back out? Like, why? I mean, why even come? EJ, why even? If like Brooklyn, why is Brooklyn going? And then just talk about some other squads that a lot of their players aren't even. They're putting these makeshift teams together that are like, What do you think?
Well, I'm gonna say thank you, Brooklyn, for signing Jamal Crawford. He should have been on the team a long time
Finally.
ago. And he's going to ball out because there's no one there. He's going to ball out. Jamal Crawford is working for a contract. He's not going to pass the ball. He's going to put his Kobe Bryant face on. There's no A button. And he's going to be pressing the X button or using the shot stick all day long.
I feel like he's a shot stick kind of guy.
Hey, I tell you. And I'm just excited for Jamal Crawford to be dropping 30 or 40 when he's taking 50 or 60 shots.
Yeah, that's what it's going to take.
It's going to be shooting. Because Brooklyn is going to get swept, and it's not even going to be funny. Because they probably won't get over 60 points.
Is Brooklyn a lock?
Why are they coming?
No.
What's up?
Brooklyn's not a lock for the playoffs.
I mean, they're a lock with
like
Bradley Beal out.
Yeah, and well,
I don't know. Do we really?
Terrible.
I know. Obviously, the sniper Bertans is not playing. So I mean, maybe, but I think Thomas Bryant's going to put up like 30 and 29. Thomas Bryant will be putting up 2K numbers. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you all that right now for the Washington Wizards. Shout out to IU. And these teams are just so fucking bad where it's obviously they're NBA players and they're way better than me. Way better. But still, Michael Beasley.
let me tell you.
You tell me.
The East has always been like only had 2 or 3 good teams. And everybody else is really just watching. And I mean, the East is better this year. Don't get me wrong. But in the last couple of years, when LeBron was in the East, he didn't have nobody. He just ran over the East because the East had nobody. Or they had a bunch of old Celtics players. Sorry for any Celtics fans out there. But they've had a whole bunch of Paul Pierce and Ray Allen and KGs for the past 4 years, 5 years, and then LeBron still ran them over.
Well, it's true. Where LeBron went, that team pretty much dominated. But, you're right. There's always been a couple like, Paul George's Pacers. Good squad.
Yeah, they were good. Sometimes.
They were good for a few years there. But yeah, LeBron ran through the East like it's nothing. So, Heat, the second incarnation of the Cavs, and then
let's go.
Anyway, so Broderick.
Yeah.
Thoughts on these squads that are trash?
I think it's very important for them to go. And I touch up on this on my article/blog post that I will be posting at one point where I'm powering the teams. But one of the most underrated and undervalued things that no one seems to want on their teams is playoff experience. This playoff experience makes a difference between winning a series and losing. And the example I always use are the Sixers and the Celtics from 2 years ago. The Sixers had a lead in the final minute of 4 of those games and had a 20-plus point lead in a fifth. They lost that series 4-1. How in the fuck do you lose a series 4-1 when you have those stats? And it comes down to just playoff experience. And it's so important because the Nets are 6 games up on the Wizards right now. Both of them are limping in. I think Jamal Crawford and
leads the Brooklyn Nets to victory.
And LeVert, if he's playing, can lead because they have 6 games. And what you need to do is get these young guys that playoff experience, even if you get swept, because the playoffs it's a whole different story than regular season. Getting like Nicholas Claxton, a guy who the Nets have been raving about, getting him those rotations and just playoff experience will do wonders. Just having those reps in those clutch time situations. And like for the Wizards.
How do you not name drop Jarrett Allen when he's probably the best player out of both these squads going?
Because Jarrett Allen has more reps and experience than the other players. But like with the Wizards, if they get in, you got Hachimura. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. Thomas Bryant.
You're right.
So it's so valuable for them to get this experience. Because, like I said, the Sixers had no playoff experience, and they lost a series that they definitely should have won. And, like, when you saw the next year they added Jimmy Butler, they took the champs to 7 games and lost on a quadruple doink.
Well,
this is why I think it's so important for these young guys to play and for them to get this playoff experience. I mean, I understand if they don't want to play because of health and all that, but if they do choose to play, it'll be great experience.
That I agree with. I agree with a lot of these younger players. That's why I'm rooting for the Wizards. Because they're kind of auditioning too. Because if the Wizards front office and all of them see, all right, we got some guys that can perform when Bradley Beal and John Wall are out. When they come back, maybe we don't have to trade Bradley Beal. Maybe we have a squad that can build around John. John has to restructure his contract, but John Wall and Bradley Beal. If Thomas Bryant performs, if Rory comes out, has a strong, nothing crazy, but puts up 14, something viable.
Get those reps in.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean but that's why I'm in full support of the Wizards versus the Nets, who are signing agents that have been in and out of the league for
I think
20 years in Jamal Crawford's instance. And
the Nets need this more because next year they get Durant and Kyrie back in our series.
Yeah, but the players they're signing are not on there. It's going to be on this team next year.
Well, they don't have a team to put on the floor right now, so they actually need to sign these players.
But that's my point, though. That's what I'm saying. The Wizards players will be on the roster next year. Mm-hmm. The Nets, they're going to get fired and quit, and they're not going to be on the squad next year because their players will be back. Their better players will.
But it'll be so important for if LeVert's playing, Jarrett Allen, Nicholas Claxton, a couple of these other guys to get that experience because
I agree.
Durant and Kyrie, they both won championships, but they need those players to defer to in the last couple of minutes where they're calm, they're collected with possibly a series on the line, a game 7 or like the finals atmosphere. Because you saw there's many teams that like Giannis last year, that team imploded against the Raptors. It's the playoff experience is the reason teams win or teams lose because you need to be able to play well with a couple minutes left and with the game within 5 points. That's where that experience makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I agree. So you're just saying this is just kind of like a great little practice and trial educational time for some of the players that haven't had this in the past. And so it's going to set them up for the next season.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, they're not doing anything this season.
Well, yeah, we all agree.
They're done.
But you're like, you might as well play to get the reps, right?
Yeah, like Magic have a chance to steal one game from the 2 seed, whoever that is. I think it'll be the Celtics. Like Magic might have a chance, but whether the Nets or Wizards get in, they're getting swept. Yeah. There's no chance the Wizards or Nets win one game.
Pacers probably going to get swept too without Victor.
I don't. It wasn't. No, I think Pacers can definitely. Like I don't think Pacers will see 7 games, but I think they can push 6.
Push 6.
I think they
no one in the 6. East is winning the finals. So
he's just like, we can stop this right now. It doesn't even fucking matter.
Chicago. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. We all know. But Broderick's right. It is important for them to come and play because Brooklyn next year is going to be a team to reckon with. If KD can come back being KD, that all depends on when KD comes back and play like the second best player or third best player. He's not the first best player in the world. So
honestly,
that is true.
When regards to, we haven't released our top 10 players in the NBA. That'll be an episode all to itself, because I'm sure we all have reasons why. But with KD, next year he comes back, arguably you can put him wherever 1 through 5 probably, arguably. So it just depends. It depends what you value more. Like it's what you want in your dominant player, because we got our boy over here, Giannis, but he provides a totally different skill set than LeBron, than KD. But then LeBron and KD individually provide an entirely different skill set than Giannis. So it's just like, it's apples and oranges. That's why it's so hard to compare players, because they're all so different. But you can compare position wise and be like, all right, this person has better handles than this person, or. So that's my thing on the comparable. But when we do our top 10, that's going to be a fun little day.
Yeah.
Eldad.
That Bucks series is going to be atrocious.
What do we think Giannis puts up?
I think he drops like 30 in 20 minutes.
I think he'll
average
he sits,
30.
right?
Giannis is resting.
I think they can
Giannis
sit
is
Giannis
resting the entire second half.
Yeah, like there's no point in even playing. They should honestly sign his brothers and just let them go fucking buck wild. That's what I would do.
One of his brothers is already on the Bucks now.
There we go.
Lakers.
Wait, so the one that was on the Lakers is no longer on the... He's on the Bucks now?
He's on the Lakers.
No, he is on the Lakers. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
He is on the Lakers.
So...
But, I think Beasley might start for the Nets. I think their point guard, me and my little brother were trying to go through it, and I think Chris Chiozza is going to be their starting point.
I don't even know who the fuck that is. And there's 12 people on a roster. Max 15.
The Chris Chiozza Florida teams?
Legendary.
You don't remember that Final Four run?
No, I don't.
I guess not.
Short-term memory.
We're talking a starting 5 of like Chris Chiozza, I guess Chris LeVert if he plays.
Keep going.
Joe Harris.
Keep going.
I guess Michael Beasley.
He's going to be a Laker next year, by the way.
Who, Joe?
Harris?
Be a Laker.
No, Michael Beasley.
Joe Harris is going to be a Laker.
If you say so. Keep going.
But Jared Allen at the 5, I feel the best for him because DeAndre's gone. Finally, he can play.
The better player can finally play.
And then obviously Claxton will probably be their backup 5.
Yeah.
And then that bench is going to be just Jamal jacking up shots.
Precious.
So one of his stat line predictions was like 51 points, 25 of 71 shooting. It's like, yeah.
Who's releasing these numbers?
I was just, somebody was like, he's going to go 25 of 71, 50 points.
That old ass arm of his is going to be fucking worn out to the bone. He should join the Big Three. Big Three League. He would toast those sons of bitches. That would be wild. That would be a show.
Such an awful team.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Well, and again, they kind of like with the Nets, Wizards. Who else do we think is just like, you see, but like the Pelicans have a chance. Obviously the Grizzlies as well. These are a few of the teams that are outside looking in. At least Grizzlies are in right now.
Yeah.
But they have a chance to prove. Portland, you have Dame, you have CJ. So I'm not counting them out. But it's also like you're losing some of your wings. And it's kind of a wing-driven league now.
And their wings were already pretty rough.
And they're already garbage. It's not like their wings were out here, Giannis. It's not like they're Giannis out here. So it's like their wings are already serviceable. They're backups. They're role players. They're bench players.
Yeah.
And I like Trevor Ariza, but he at this point in his career that he is not going to be out on the wing guarding LeBron. At least he shouldn't be. If he is, it's because he's their only option and he's taken out. So
that is their only option.
Yeah. So
the NBA did invite too many teams.
The NBA did.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. NBA should have did the top 16 playoff and
just let them play
the best
like a warm up season.
Yeah.
For the playoff.
The NBA wouldn't do that because of Zion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is the problem. Like, they should do the top 16 teams. And period. Like,
I agree.
Conferences and
abolish the whole.
Well, I could see why they did it, because when you look at it, like the Nets have technically a better record than the Magic. They have one less loss, but the Magic are like a shoo-in for the playoffs now because they're not really. The people they've lost have just been from injury, and they still have got a solid approach. So, like, I wouldn't want to see, because I don't think they have a top 16 record, but I'd much rather see the Magic than I would the Nets.
Are we going to see playoff Jonathan Isaac?
I don't think so.
I think he's out.
Son of a bitch. I was so ready for that 6'11" god just to go out and just play offense, play defense.
It would be a problem.
All right. Last topic. Yo, guys. These are millionaires. And they're eating straight cafeteria food. I mean, this I bet some of them are just sitting there and like, why the fuck did I come? Because I'm not gonna lie. Oh my god. It's not like the Lakers or the Bucks even. You know how they're separated into 3 hotels depending on record and how, how important you are. Their hotel rooms aren't even nice.
Top hotel.
The hotel room looks like a Holiday Inn with a king size bed in the middle. That's all it looked like. And so I was like, definitely the house where they live is probably way nicer. The food is definitely way better. And you get to see friends, family. And you could probably still go play fucking basketball. I don't know why you would go. I really don't. It's just, again, unless you're the Lakers, I get it. Unless you're the Clippers, I get it. Unless you're Giannis. Giannis just needs to go himself. But yeah, outside of that, this is a tough, and I guess unless you're Orlando, because you're there, it's just a tough sell. Do you think they got to, and this is a speculation, I have no idea. Do you think they got to pick their meals or got to got shown a preview of what you could possibly be eating where you'd be sleeping? Now, if that's the case and they're like, yeah, I'll fucking go. That's fine. That looks good to me. Then I get it and that's okay. That's their choice. But could you imagine being sold this like idea of like, oh, you're gonna be on the Magic Kingdom and you get all this stuff and you're gonna be treated like a prince, and then they bring you this fucking dog shit? Like, I mean, could you imagine? And we know, well, who was it? Was it Kuzma who posted a photo of his sushi?
Oh, I didn't see that.
So another player, I think
Daniels.
Troy Daniels who posted his sushi?
Did he post
he posted some food. I know Troy Daniels just because when I looked at the Troy Daniels tweet and then Isaiah Thomas quote, and he was like, "No chance in hell this is what they give LeBron."
Yeah, there's that one. No, but there's a Laker player, and I think it was Kuz. And he had like 6 plates of like the nicest looking sushi I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, fuck you, Kuz. You're just such a tease. I'm like, all right, so I'll pass it to y'all. What do you think about the environment, the food, the living situation that these players are experiencing for our entertainment? Eldad?
I mean, it looks like the Troy Daniels picture reminded me so much of like airplane food.
Oh my god!
Where like they'll give you the description and it's like, oh, that sounds delicious.
You open the pamphlet and that's
and then you get the tray and you're like, wow, this is awful. Why?
This is not
what you described.
This is not the advertisement that I saw.
I mean, and then the WNBA player, I don't even know what dish that was, and I don't want. And it just looked like
throw it in a pot,
stir it in there.
Might have COVID in it.
It might. It looked like those lungs that experienced COVID.
But Troy Daniels is on the Nuggets, which I did not know until it was on the tweet.
He got cut by the Lakers.
I knew that. I didn't know anybody picked him up. but they're at the same hotel as the Lakers.
Oh, so they are?
So that makes the
that makes it so
even
much,
worse.
That makes it so much better.
They're at the exact same hotel.
That's so funny. I love it. I also love seeing, I don't know about y'all, I love seeing like the 20-year-olds our age bring in their like monitors and
DeAndre Ayton
holding a monitor on the. He said, "This shit's staying with me no matter where," and I respect that. I love it because that's what they will be doing. That's what they should be doing. It's just fucking.
There's nothing to do.
Romeo had his switch.
Yeah, I mean, come on, that's awesome. I just love seeing it because I'm like, because they are kids. Some of them are kids. Obviously, LeBron's a fucking adult, but like, you know, like Ayton, Booker, the guys who are Zion 19 turning 20, like, have fun. You're there.
It's exactly what we would do.
It's exactly what everybody would be doing. So I just like seeing it. EJ, thoughts on their living situation?
Hey, you know, they got to tell these players though what they're going into.
I hope so.
It's out of my mind, and they're not telling these players, and they come day one and NBA knocks on their door. NBA representative said, "Here's your lunch," or "Here's your dinner," and you're like, "You got to be fucking kidding." But speaking of Troy Daniels loves living with his ex-Lakers teammates. He had great relationships with them, and he knew the reason why he got cut. Dion Waiters was just a better player. So that's why he got cut, and the Nuggets picked him up right then there. I don't know why, because Nuggets not going to use him, but he just had to get cut. But he understands it.
Well, they didn't want the Nets to get him.
Oh yeah, because the Nets, man.
Because I think the Nets are about to call my ass.
Daniels is a sniper now. So
sniper with a faulty scope.
Living situation. I mean, I guess it is what it is. I mean,
it be what it be.
Basketball. This is what you're going to be doing for the past next 2-3 months.
It's
so players should know this.
Originally, when they were pitching this, and I was like, you know what? That's something. You mean I'm sure they have a lazy river. Like, I mean, that sounds like
lazy river. I'm in.
That's what I'm saying. You fucking pitch me a lazy river. My ass is there.
Just a lazy river.
That's all I need. And so I'm like, oh, this is
you get this free food.
This. You get all this. It's the Magic fucking Kingdom. They've kind of dropped the ball. Broderick, what do you think?
From what I like tried reading more into it, and Apparently, I mean, they probably just,
Apparently, it is dog food.
but no, that the first 2 days they're there, that's what the food is like, because they're in this quarantine bubble to make sure they don't have COVID. So that might just be, and like, let's make this like shit high class. But from what I read, that most of the foods like that, when you're in that quarantine bubble, like that 2 day where they test you, make sure you don't have it when you get there. But that could just be them lying and like trying to like
Save face.
fix whatever shit show they just created, and what like a monstrosity of food. Like when you look at the WNBA one, I swear there's COVID in there. There's no way they just didn't pick that out of the dumpster and thought, well, let's just give it to them.
Yeah,
Because it looks disgusting.
It does.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I wouldn't eat it, to be
Yeah,
honest.
Broderick's right. We need to take care of our players. I mean, the thing is, we pay all these taxes, and they eating that kind of food. Come on, man. I need LeBron, and I need Kuz to keep on eating that sushi. I need LeBron to get fried chicken. I need him to be ready for some action. July 30th, 29th, 28th. It don't matter what day it is. Lakers in 4.
All right. Well, there you go. Lakers in 4.
He shifted that from the food to.
I know.
Oh no, Lakers are winning this.
Lakers are winning the whole thing. Yeah, no, I hope. Yeah, well, Broderick, I hope you're right. They probably, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me because everything's reactionary nowadays. They saw the backlash that the food was getting, and it was like, all right, let's go get some new food. And so they've been in the fucking fresh market for the past 24 hours. And I mean, hey, hopefully now, this is kind of a silly segment, but yeah, hopefully now they can get something that is like nourishing, or at least it looks nourishing in the WNBA's perspective.
Get some pub subs in there.
I'm telling you what,
Yeah.
my ass would have ordered fucking Pizza Hut, and like, if that shit rolled up to the door, I'm like, I'm bursting this fucking bubble and I'm out. Everybody get the flu game. Everybody gets a flu game. Give me that Pizza Hut. Well, that's it for today's episode of X's and O's with Evan and Bros. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, subscribe and like. Hit that
TikTok.
like button. Guys, every like
TikTok
helps.
is coming.
So,
Tough coming.
guys, it's been real. It's been a fun first week. Let's keep the ball rolling. L. Diddy, hit that outro. Yeah.